My husband left me for my cousin. He said she was more attractive, more intelligent, and more fun than I could ever be. But after they got married, she revealed a secret that shattered everything. How do you deal with doubts in your marriage? When you know your husband hasn't done anything wrong, but that sinking feeling in your stomach tells you something is off. I'm not the type to make baseless accusations. I loved my husband. I loved Ben more than anything. But everything changed after one family retreat. When I married Ben at 23, I truly believed I had found my soulmate. We met in college. And even though we were young, I knew from the moment we started dating that he was the man I would grow old with. He was everything I had ever dreamed of: loving, reliable, and attentive in a way I had never experienced before. With Ben, I felt safe. No matter what life threw at us, I knew we'd face it together. Our wedding was simple, but it was perfect. We weren't rich or glamorous, but we had each other, and we were building a life we could be proud of. I never doubted that until recently. The cracks started to show after a family retreat. My extended family, parents, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, even my grandma, all gathered for a weekend in a cabin in the mountains. Ben had never spent much time with my family, but he was always charming and sociable. I thought he'd fit right in. But things didn't go as planned. My grandma had recently had a bad fall and needed extra care. I stepped up to take care of her, which meant I spent most of the retreat by her side. Ben, on the other hand, seemed distant. He spent his time chatting with my cousins, especially Saya. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, I should have known something was wrong. After the retreat, things changed. Ben started working late, coming home at odd hours. He put a password on his phone, something he had never done before. He became distant, barely touching me unless I initiated it. I tried to rationalize his behavior. Maybe it was work stress. Maybe it was my fault for ignoring him during the retreat. But that sinking feeling in my stomach wouldn't go away. I confided in a friend, and she said the words I didn't want to hear. "He's cheating on you." I confronted Ben, and he exploded. He accused me of being ungrateful, of inventing lies in my head. I felt guilty and apologized profusely. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. A week later, my worst fears were confirmed. A friend sent me a photo of Ben at a club, kissing my cousin, Saya. My world shattered. I recognized her instantly: her hair, her dress, everything. I confronted Ben again, and this time, he didn't deny it. He said Saya was more attractive, more fun, and that everyone preferred her over me. He left me that night, saying he was going to be with her, as it should have been all along. I filed for divorce, but Ben beat me to it. He wanted it over as quickly as possible. We had been married for less than a year. I had planned our first anniversary celebration, but instead, I was preparing for a divorce. Ben moved on immediately, flaunting his relationship with Saya on social media. They got engaged just months after our divorce was finalized. I was invited to their wedding. A cruel twist of fate. But I wasn't going to let them off easy. I had a plan. At their wedding reception, I walked in with a gift: a blue, pink, and white box, the colors of the transgender pride flag. Inside was a cake topper, 2 grooms embracing. I placed it on their wedding cake and revealed the truth. Saya wasn't always Saya. She was born Tony. Ben, coming from a conservative family, had no idea. The room fell silent. Saya froze, and Ben was furious. I told him the truth, and he broke down. I walked out, leaving them to deal with the fallout. Ben tried to annul the marriage, but his family, staunchly traditional, refused to support him. They pressured him to stay with Saya, threatening to cut him off if he didn't. For a while, it seemed like they were stuck in a miserable marriage. But Eventually, Ben ran. He left Saya and his old life behind, but not before losing everything: his apartment, his truck, and his family's support. As for me, I've moved on. I've learned that sometimes the truth is the best revenge. Life has a way of balancing the scales. What Ben and Saya did was unforgivable, but in the end, they got what they deserved. As for me, I've found peace. I've learned that no matter how dark things seem, there's always a way forward. And sometimes, the best revenge is living well.